Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Yeshi Chanzom. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Monday, the 26th of July. India pays tributes to war heroes on 22nd anniversary of Kargil Victory Day. Opposition alleges rigging as PM Khan's party wins election in Pakistan-administered Kashmir. And civilian casualties in Afghanistan at record level in May-June, says United Nations. And now for all the details. India on Monday remembered its war heroes and paid rich tributes to its soldiers on the 22nd anniversary of Kargil Vijay Divas or Victory Day. The day marks the victory of Indian Armed Forces in Operation Vijay in 1999 when they evicted the infiltrators backed by Pakistani army from the high outpost in northern Kargil sector.
India marked Kargil Vijay Divas or Victory Day on Monday with tributes to the heroes of Kargil War. On July 26, 1999, the Indian Armed Forces defeated the Pakistani army at the heights of Batalik, Kargil and Dras sectors in India's then Jammu and Kashmir state. In capital New Delhi, India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, along with the chiefs of the tri-services and senior officials, paid tribute to fallen soldiers at the National War Memorial on the occasion. Nearly 500 Indian soldiers died on the snow-capped peaks of Kargil in the campaign to oust hundreds of infiltrators from Pakistan in the summer of 1999.
भारत की सीमाओं की सुरक्षा के लिए और देश की एकता और अखंडता को अक्षुण्ण बनाए रखने में कारगिल युद्ध के दौरान जिन हमारे बहादुर जवानों ने अपनी शहादत दी है, मैं उनके प्रति तहे दिल अपनी श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करता हूं.
Remembering the sacrifices and valor of heroes of the Kargil War, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, "Their bravery motivates the country every day." Paying homage on the occasion of 22nd Vijay Divas, CDS Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat installed the victory flame at the Kargil War Memorial in Dras sector along the line of control in northern Ladakh territory. Besides General Rawat, Ladakh LG RK Mathur and Ladakh lawmaker Jamyang Sering Namgyal also paid floral tributes at the memorial. The face-off in the Kargil mountains nearly brought nuclear-capable India and Pakistan to the brink of their fourth full-scale war. India saw the fighting in the Kargil sector as an undeclared war with Pakistan. Pakistan denied any involvement in the intrusion, saying Kashmiri militants had occupied the heights.
Rescue teams in India used rafts on Monday to rescue residents stranded in flooded areas caused by torrential monsoon rains that have so far claimed more than 160 lives in 4 days. Western states of Maharashtra and Goa, as well as Karnataka and Telangana in the south, are the most affected by heavy rains that have flooded croplands over thousands of hectares and forced authorities to move over 230,000 people to safer places.
India's western states of Maharashtra and Goa, as well as Karnataka and Telangana in the south, are the most affected by heavy rains that have flooded croplands over thousands of hectares and forced authorities to move over 230,000 people to safer places. In Maharashtra, 149 people have died mainly in landslides and other monsoon-related accidents, while another 64 are still missing, the state government said in a statement. As rescue missions are underway, the National Disaster Response Force (NDRF) personnel in the state's Kolhapur district rescued a COVID-19 patient from a flooded village and shifted him to a safer place from where he was taken to hospital by ambulance.
इस गांव से हम आए, उसका नाम वडांगे है. वहाँ से एक कोविड पेशेंट जो अभी जिसका ब्लड ऑक्सीजन डाउन हो गया है, तो इसको इमरजेंसी इवैक्यूएट करना है, इसलिए हम उसको अपने शिवाजी ब्रिज की तरफ ले जा रहे हैं, जहाँ से उसको बाय रोड एम्बुलेंस के थ्रू पहुँचाया जाएगा.
In Karnataka and Telangana, more than a dozen people died because of floods, but waters in the main Krishna and Godavari rivers are receding, authorities said. In Goa, a hugely popular tourist destination on the western coast, hundreds of houses were damaged as the state recorded the worst floods in nearly 4 decades, the state's chief minister Pramod Sawant said. Rains are easing on the west coast and that will help in rescue operations, said a Pune-based senior scientist with the India Meteorological Department. Last week, parts of India's west coast received up to 594 mm of rainfall over 24 hours, forcing authorities to evacuate people from vulnerable areas as they released water from dams that were threatening to overflow.
Indian weightlifter Mirabai Chanu, who won the silver medal in women's 49 kg weightlifting at Tokyo Olympics 2020, received a grand welcome on Monday at the Delhi airport as she returned back home after her successful campaign. Chanu became the first athlete from India to win a medal on the opening day of the Games and only the second to clinch a medal in weightlifting in over 2 decades.
Indian weightlifter Mirabai Chanu, who won the silver medal in women's weightlifting event at Tokyo Olympics 2020, received a grand welcome on Monday as she returned back home after her successful campaign. The 26-year-old athlete from India's northeastern Manipur state was escorted by security personnel at the Delhi airport, while the staff cheered her on and presented her bouquets.
हाँ, मैं थोड़ा सा नर्वस भी और प्रेशर भी थी क्योंकि पूरा भारतवासी को मेरे ऊपर होप रखी थी। उन्होंने मेरा भाई मेडल लेके आएगी, तो उस सब कुछ चीज़ों को लेके मुझे थोड़ा सा टेंशन भी होता कि मुझे कल सोच तो लिए थी मैं अच्छा करूँगी, मैं बेस्ट परफॉर्मेंस दूंगी, मैं जो भी 5 साल में पूरा मेहनत किया है उसको पूरा बेस्ट परफॉर्मेंस देने के लिए।
Chanu, India's only athlete in weightlifting, became only the second Indian weightlifter to win an Olympics medal as she lifted a total of 202 kg during her attempts across the competition. China's Zihui Hou bagged gold with a total of 210 kg.
Moving on, leaders of major opposition parties PMLN and PPP on Monday alleged rigging after results showed Prime Minister Imran Khan's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf party emerging victorious in Sunday's election in Pakistan-administered Kashmir. They accused election authorities also failed to take action after incidents of clashes between party workers were reported during the polling. Pakistan People's Party chairperson Bilawal Bhutto Zardari and Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz Vice President Maryam Nawaz on Monday alleged rigging after results showed Prime Minister Imran Khan's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf party emerging victorious in Sunday's election in Pakistan-administered Kashmir. Reports suggest Khan's PTI won 26 seats out of a total 45, while the PPP bagged 11 seats, emerging as the largest opposition party in the Legislative Assembly in the illegally occupied region. The PMLN bagged 6 and 2 other parties got 1 each. Bilawal in a tweet blamed PTI of resorting to violence and rigging after incidents of clashes between his and PTI supporters were reported during polling, which also resulted in 2 deaths. Meanwhile, PMLN Vice President Maryam Nawaz tweeted that she has not accepted the results and will never accept them. Since the campaigning began, locals and political activists in the illegally occupied region had been highlighting pre-poll rigging by candidates of all major political parties. They lamented that although Islamabad claims to have given autonomy to the region, the Legislative Assembly is not allowed to pass any legislation without its approval. In news from Afghanistan, the United Nations has expressed serious concerns over the ongoing conflict in Afghanistan, which caused more than 5,000 civilian casualties in the first half of 2021. Nearly 2,400 Afghan civilians were killed or injured in May to June period alone, as international troops continued drawdown and Taliban launched major offensives.
Nearly 2,400 Afghan civilians were killed or injured in May and June as fighting between Taliban insurgents and Afghan security forces escalated, the highest number for those 2 months since records started in 2009, the United Nations said in a report on Monday. The figures underscore the dire situation for Afghan civilians as heavy clashes around the country have taken place in the past 2 months, with the Taliban launching major offensives and taking over vast territories, while international troops withdraw. UN Special Envoy for Afghanistan Deborah Lyons urged the Taliban and Afghan leaders to take heed to the conflict's grim and chilling trajectory and stem the violence.
I call on the Taliban and Afghan leaders. Intensify your efforts at the negotiating table. Tackle the important substantive issues of peace. Stop the Afghan against Afghan fighting.
Meanwhile, U.S. Marine General Kenneth McKenzie on Sunday said that the United States will continue to carry out airstrikes to support Afghan forces facing attack from the insurgent Taliban. He said a Taliban victory was not inevitable and a political solution remained a possibility. The Afghan government and Taliban negotiators have been meeting in Doha in recent weeks, but diplomats have cautioned there has been little substantive progress.
Moving on to news from Nepal. Prohibitory orders in place in Nepal's Kathmandu Valley since April 29 to contain the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic have been extended by another 10 days from Monday till August 4, with substantial change. Nepal's health ministry, citing a spike in the infection rate following the relaxed measures, has warned of an increased possibility of a third wave of the coronavirus to hit the country.
The ongoing lockdown in Nepal's Kathmandu Valley was extended for 10 more days on Sunday till August 4, though most of the restrictive measures have been relaxed in past weeks. Kathmandu Valley consists of three main cities of Kathmandu, Lalitpur and Bhaktapur, which are of great historic and cultural interest. Sporting events, swimming pools, theatres, mass meetings, rallies, cultural and religious events are still banned in the valley. Meanwhile, long and medium distance transportation services have been reopened in a separate notice issued on July 23. On July 4, the authorities in Kathmandu Valley allowed public and private transportation services within the region. The Kathmandu Valley and many other parts of Nepal have been put under lockdown since April 29 to contain a second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. Nepal's health ministry, citing a spike in the infection rate following the relaxed measures, warned on Thursday of an increasing possibility of a third wave of the coronavirus to hit the country. The Himalayan nation has so far reported a total of 680,556 COVID-19 cases and 9,713 deaths.
Thousands of devotees took holy dip in river Ganges and crowded temples across northern India to mark the auspicious first Monday of the Hindu holy month of Shravan. Despite fears of coronavirus spread, devotees worship Lord Shiva, the god of destruction, during Shravan and seek his blessings for peace and prosperity of their families.
Thousands of devotees thronged the banks of river Ganges and queued outside temples to offer prayers in Varanasi in India's northern Uttar Pradesh state on the first Monday of Hindu holy month of Sawan or Shravan, despite fears of a third wave of COVID-19. The Mondays of Shravan are considered to be one of the most auspicious days as per Hindu calendar, and devotees worship Lord Shiva, the god of destruction, during the month. Social distancing went for a toss at the banks of the holy river and at temples, where most devotees were seen without masks.
सावन का महत्व ये है कि पूरा महीना ये बाबा विश्वनाथ और बाबा शिव शंकर के नाम पे जाता है। हर दिन यहाँ पे शुभ माना जाता है और विशेषकर हर जगह पे जहाँ भी शिवलिंग है उन सभी जगहों पे ये आज के दिन बहुत ज़्यादा मान्यता रहती है कि पहला सोमवार है, एक बार जरूर दर्शन कर लें। बाकी ये पूरे 300 दिन जितने दिन सावन है हमारा, हर दिन दर्शन के लिए श्रद्धालु रोज आपको इतने दिखेंगे।
Meanwhile, similar scenes were witnessed in temples across Prayagraj and Ayodhya cities of Uttar Pradesh as devotees prayed to seek the blessings of Lord Shiva for peace and prosperity of their families. Some of them also observed a special fast on the occasion. Scenes were no different at temples in national capital New Delhi. As of Monday, India reported 39,361 new COVID-19 cases in the last 24 hours. The South Asian nation's total case now stand at 31.4 million, making it the second most affected country after the United States.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now, our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/AsAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @AsAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.